Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. Ho, ho, ho! Good tidings! Well, stuff my stockings. Welcome to the stream.
Hello, welcome to Qyjari's Curious Crafts. Today on Aunt Anne's Tree, we're going to be finishing up our adorable little leprechaun. So let's get started. I hate this one. That's better. Okay, that's better. Hello, everybody. Look, there's 2 of you in the chat today. Yay! I am going crazy. I have so many things I have to get done before this Saturday's big D&D game that I was like, should I cancel today? No, I can't cancel today. I got to do this. I got to finish this little leprechaun. So we're going to finish it. But I just scrambled to clear this entire table and wash my hands because they were covered in gray and black paint and sand and mortar. Oh my goodness, it's been going crazy here. And then once this stream is done, this whole room gets emptied and I gotta set it up for a D&D game. So everybody wish me luck. Yes, I love my shirt too, Bagora. And I don't know if you noticed that I didn't stay on camera long, but I do have shamrock earrings in too. So I'm totally I'm totally, what is it? On fleek? Is that what the kids say? I don't know. I'm old. Okay, so let's get started, or let's continue with what we started. And if you don't have it already, on my Discord channel, on the Aunt Anne's Tree category, is the pattern. So go grab that if you're going to follow along, which I know you're all following along. And I'll show you what you need after you get that. You will need some felt pieces, of course. The beard color, which is tangerine, beard and hair. Of course, our pirate green. It's not Kelly green. I don't know why I didn't choose Kelly green. I chose pirate green. Arr. And of course, a flesh color for your little leprechaun. You'll also need coordinating DMC floss, $7.20 for the tangerine, $8.95 for the pirate, and you'll need black, $3.10. Now, you don't need flesh color because we've already sewn the head, the face into the back of the bearded area. We've already applied the sequins. We did this last week, and the seed beads. We did the eyes, and Rainik chose the eyebrows. So, yeah, you do. You need to get your running stitch going. You'll need some glittery. I know if Drake were here, he would cry because he hates glitter. Some glittery ribbon, and that's for the buckle on the top. And you'll need some 1/8 inch ribbon, which I think we cut last week. My days are all blurring together, but you do need a little bit of that green to match the hat. 1/8 inch ribbon to make the little loop at the top for your ornament hook. You'll also need, and it's optional, you don't need it, a little shamrock. I got these at Hobby Lobby. They came in a package of 8. I chose this off green color here that's already pre-glittered. And they came with other ones, these 2 right here, that don't have any glitter on them, but I do have green glitter paint that we can coat it with if we needed to. So that's why I wasn't worried about getting a package with non-glittered ones in there. And you need glitter in it, of course, because the sparkle, right? And it does. You can totally sew. I know you can sew. You'll also need 2 3mm beads, these black beads for his eyes, and a colored red pencil to give him a little bit of a blush. We already went through our seed beads and sequins last week, and we've already put our eyes on, so we don't really need these right now. And we went ahead and colored his little cheeks in, so we don't need that. But we will need those and that and this and this and no, we're all done with this. We're all done with the orange, so I'll push that aside. Clear my area here. So the first thing we're going to do is finish the head. I went ahead and finished the blanket stitch around, which is what we ended on last week. And if you don't know what a blanket stitch is, I know Rainik does by now. This is a blanket stitch. And you could just outline your entire little face. And I did it with alternating, or what is it called? Not coordinating thread and felt, so you could see it. I always use coordinating floss with the felt color, but it's harder for you to see. But I did do a smaller stitch all the way around. Now normally I would have ended this differently. I've taught you guys how to hide your thread, but this is going under the hat, so I didn't care. I just hastily snipped it off. Okay, so we're going to stuff the face. Because it has tiny little, I'll call them corners here, we're going to use your hemostat tool. If you don't have one, then you can use a knitting needle, a very thin knitting needle. If you don't have one of these, you can use a chopstick. So how about that? Crafting on a budget. Just put a tiny bit of good polyester fiberfill on the end of your hemostat and push it gently into the corner. The reason why you want to do it gently is you don't want to poke through your stitching, and you don't want to snag any of the threads that are underneath holding the sequins and the seed beads in place. I always do the corners first with a tiny little bit of the fiberfill, and then we will stuff the rest of the face. But always get those corners first. You can always tell a craft project, a good craft project, that's stuffed if the corners and the edges are stuffed well. And the only way you can do that is doing them first and carefully. And I would overstuff them because you know that it's going to get loose as you stuff the bigger pieces. And once those corners are done, I've already done that right side, so we're going to do the bigger pieces now. And you can do this with your fingers too, the bigger pieces. You don't want to overstuff. My Nana, who taught me everything, honestly, about crafting, she used to do these ornaments for family every year at Christmas. She'd make one for everybody. She overstuffed to the point where some of the stitches got a little stretched. So we're not going to go that far. We're just going to do it a nice fill. Go ahead and have it poke out the top a little bit. If we have to remove it later, we will. But we're not going to close that. This is going to be a little tricky, which is why I'm glad we ended where we ended last week, because the hat going on is a little trickier than what we've done in the past. Okay, so there's his little face. And as you can see, the back side of it is just that solid piece. Remember the pattern I had you cut out 2 of this here, except my pattern has this straight across. This was too complicated for me to do. So I just cut out one that had the center for the face, and then the other one I left solid for the back. Okay, so now let's move on to the hat, because we are done with that. Now, whenever I sew using black thread on black felt, it is very difficult for me to see, let alone try to see it a foot away. So I'm going to apply this, and I may have to redo it. It depends on how well I can see. I do have my readers here. So hopefully I'll be able to do it okay. Rainix, just recouping from a cold, you said? You're not feeling well? Just got the sniffles? Something's been going around here too. Oh, let me get my readers on because I can't see those. I always use 2 of the threads. Good, I'm glad. Nothing a little Dayquil and NyQuil won't fix. Okay, so DMC floss and other floss brands come with usually 6 strands for embroidery, and whatever embroidery pattern you're following typically tells you how many threads to use from that. And for my projects, I always use 2. I was trying to think before I said always if I ever had another reason to use more or less than 2, and I don't have any reason, so I'll just say always use 2 for my projects. When I attach this little headband or hat band to the hat, the front of the hat, I'm going to start in the middle, and the reason why is because I don't want to start at this end and find out that it doesn't stretch correctly. Felt is a wonderful material to work with because you can stretch it a little bit if need be. So I'm just going to start in the middle, and then if it does stretch or doesn't stretch to the ends, I can give it a little tug and stretch it out, but I don't want to start at one end. Also, when I get to this side, I'm not going to run that running stitch straight down here. This will be glued with none other than Surebonder glue gun. You guys outdid yourselves Tuesday night with the Surebonder thing. I was so tickled pink when I got that shout out from Surebonder on Wednesday morning. And I think you guys were tickled too. Ryland sure was. Ryland and Joe, they during the stream they went off to Twitter and asked Surebonder to send me a shout out, and sure enough they did on yesterday morning, and I was just floored. We went into private conversations after that, and they wanted me to send some videos of some of the projects that I'd done with the Surebonder, and also they wanted to find out my other social media links, which I gave them. And they also asked me what glue sticks I use. And I said the clear Surebonder glue sticks, of course. And they said, do you want some, ever use color ones? Do you want some? We'll send some to you. So they are sending me some colored glue sticks. I'll have to find a project to do for those. I know, right? Everyone's been pushing me to contact Surebonder on Twitter for so long, and I know Logan with Nerdsmith is currently in contact with them to try to get them to be sponsors, and that would be awesome. But right now I can say that I unequivocally support Surebonder, even though they're not sponsors, because I just believe in their product so much. Okay, so I stitched that all the way to the end, and actually I didn't do such a bad job for not being able to see very well. I'm going to stretch this all the way to this side and just go down, leaving a small gap between the needle, the first stitch, and the end. And that's the reason why is you want to, when you sew the hat together, you want a little bit of space to do the stitches on the green. You don't want the green stitches to go across your black hatband, I should say. I'm thinking of headbands because Clover is doing her movies, music, and more show and auction this Sunday for the youth choir. We've got our D&D bundles ready to go. Thanks to T-Girl, actually. Thank you, T-Girl, for 2 of the players' handbooks. She sent one off the wish list, and then we used the money from the bits that she donated during that stream that night to purchase another one. So we were able to put 3 sets together, D&D bundles, for auction. So those are now on the auction table for Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. Already I've got some kids in the youth choir who were just like, I need that. So that'll be fun. And we got Die Hard Dice in there, and Bill Hart, one of my Twitter pals, sent 3 of the D&D starter kits. So nice bundles for this auction. Anyway, I've got to put together this headband. I've got to make a headband with seaweed on it or something. Some sort of seaweedy look, because she's going to sing Jolly Sailor Bold from the Mermaids sang during Pirates of the Caribbean, and accompanied by 2 violins. Some of her girlfriends in the youth choir play. She plays also, but she plays the viola. But she's going to sing and then be accompanied by these by some stringed instruments, which would be gorgeous. And she's wearing a long blue dress that has a mermaid fin hem on it. Not hem, but the bottom of the dress is mermaid style, I guess. And I need to make something for her hair. So I joked that I was going to put some seaweed in her hair. And that'll be fun. I'm going to get a video of them singing, or her singing, and them playing on Saturday or Sunday afternoon during the rehearsal. And I might post that for folks to see as a thank you. She's a talented singer. I don't know where she gets it, because I can't carry a tune in a bucket. Yeah, I wondered when you responded to my my Discord chat. I thought, oh, he's probably at his violin lesson, but you're not having weather that bomb cyclone hasn't hit you guys yet, right? I hope not, because you've already had several sessions of bad weather up there. I'm getting a lot of knots in this, and I think it's because I'm distracted. I need to untwist my my thread a little bit, and I'll show you a trick for that. Oh, this is just stuck. Okay. I'm going to use the needle to get in there and separate that little knot. There we go. Okay, that's now that I've got it straightened out, it's on the back. I'm going to just separate this. And then I'm going to kind of dangle it so that it kind of untwists like that. Whoops, you guys see my hand. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to block the camera. There we go. Now it won't be so twisty. Oh, you got some rain there? Yeah. It's nice here. I feel guilty having such nice weather when everyone else in the Midwest is just suffering. Yeah, this is a crazy time of year. It got beautiful yesterday or the day before. It was up to almost 80 here. I love summertime. Basically, when Christmas is over, I'm ready for the summer. Okay, once again, I'm skipping. I'm leaving a big gap there, and we will once the hat's sewn, we will touch it up with a little bit of the glue gun to keep it in place. But we're going to hide that green stitch behind the hat. We don't want the green floss, embroidery floss, over the top of our black felt. So I'll just skip over there like that and finish up the rest of the hat. Hey, how are you doing, Muffique? I'm glad you could join us today for Aunt Anne's tree. I am making this, this is part 2. If you missed our episode last week, we started to make this cute little leprechaun ornament, and we are finishing up today. We've got his face and his beard done with his sequins and everything, and we're currently working on his top hat, his green top hat. And just because you, oh, happy birthday. I'm sorry you're alone. Well, you're not alone because we're with you right now. In fact, I don't know if you know this or not, but just by tuning in and saying something in the chat, you qualify to win this little guy. See, Randick thought he had it all sewn up last week when he was the only one in the chat. Thought he had this thing. And now he's up against some other competition. But after the stream is over, I will, I don't know, probably roll a die because, you know, that's scientific enough. And see who wins. This cute little guy. I don't know if I'll get him mailed in time for St. Patty's Day, but you'll have him for next year. Or just keep him up all year round. He can be your lucky charm. Ah, see what I did there? Yeah, you thought you had it sewn up. Good one. Not that you don't already have 100 of my ornaments by now, actually. Okay, so that's the hat band on there, and now we're going to attach the. We're going to do this part last. Those go on last. We're going to attach the front of the hat to the back of the hat, leaving the gap at the bottom open for his head. So that would be probably from about here to here. So we're going to start here and work our way around with the green thread. And that, again, is that pirate green. Different stores, different fabric stores and craft stores have different names for similar colors. I believe this one came from Hobby Lobby and it's called pirate green. Just double check. And you know what? If it's your own fabric or your own ornament that you're making for yourself, then just pick any green you want. Just head over to the floss section and match it, hold it up against the floss and decide which one you'd like to match up with that. So it may not be, what would I say, this one's $8.95, may not match up with whatever one you pick out. These are just guidelines. Okay, so I already had these separated. Oh, you did finish it? Good. How'd it go? How did your D&D session go in the desert? Okay, once again, we're going to hide that stitch like we do at the beginning of every stitch of the blanket stitch by giving it a barely peeking through. I'm going to put this over there a little bit more. Like that. You can see it from this side, but you really can't see it from this side. Another reason why I like the coordinating floss, because then it does kind of hide that. Okay, and then our knot stays here, and we're just going to do that blanket stitch around the hat. Now, so I don't forget, someone remind me that when we get to this part right here, we add our ornament hook loop. Okay, so someone remind me before I pass it right by. I can't tell you the number of times I have forgotten to do that. Once again, the start of your blanket stitch, Randick, if you say it right now, a rock eater, oh no. yeah, not now, not yet. That first stitch is straight down the line there. It just creates one solid stitch. Then the following stitches, like I've shown you in the past for blanket stitches, you go out about a little less than 1/4 of an inch and pull that needle through and create a like a square. I'll show it to you on my hand. It'll make more sense. Like that. And just tighten it gently and continue all the way around. You can tell me anyway. Nice. I know I can count on you, Randick. Thank you. We're looking forward to Saturday. I'm so excited. You know what? I'm more excited about just the fact that I get to play. And I get to play Ronan. She is my favorite character. I will probably cry heartily when she's retired or dead. She's got her trusty sidekick, Naku. Her companion, her direwolf companion. And I'm so excited. I do have to paint Emancipation. I do have a tiefling sorcerer to paint for Ross to play. He didn't have his own mini. The other ones had minis because they are playing their regular characters that we play in our Thursday night game. And I'm so excited just about the whole process. In fact, Drake and I were talking last night about some of the bit ideas that we're going to use for the game. For bit donations, we're going to have all sorts of game-changing opportunities. So that'll be fun. Clover will be producing. Unfortunately, Del Mori can't make it. We were hoping she could. But she's getting ready to move. So she's got a lot to do this weekend and cannot come produce the stream with her younger sister. But that's okay. Clover knows what to do. And she'll be good at it. And Drake's going to keep an eye on chat because as the DM, he wants to be able to be right on top of any changes that any bit donations create. Yeah, Naku. The Lich King. What are you going to get at the hobby store? What are you going to buy? Is it a hobby store like crafts, like what I'm doing, or is it a hobby store like D&D, like dice and terrain pieces and minis? I can't think of a better way to spend my birthday money. Although I can tell you that my birthday is in December, and I got money for myself from my in-laws, and I saved it because I was waiting for it to go on sale, and I bought myself that Proxon foam wire cutter that we used Tuesday night. Well, I've been using it a lot, and I love that. It has been such a time-saving device for me and creating the terrain that we're going to use Saturday. In fact, oh my goodness, I painted it today. I was covered in look at that. I haven't gone past it yet, Rainek. I won't forget the loop. Oh yeah, I forgot people do use Legos to play D&D. The minis are perfect for that. The minis and some of the pieces. Okay, so we want to put that loop in the center. Because in this case, both sides are symmetrical. And they match, so we don't have to worry about it like we did for other ornaments, that it falls evenly and hangs nice and level. So we're going to put that ornament hook in the very center, or that loop for the ornament hook, and that's about the center, and that is the next stitch. Look at me. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. So I've put that loop. I showed you how to make that loop, well, several times, but I did last week by taking that 1/8 inch, about 3 inches of that 1/8 inch wide satin ribbon, tying a knot at the end, and then we're going to tuck that knot inside like that, and then we're going to do the same blanket stitch, but this time through the ribbon like that. And then instead of going straight up and knotting it or doing the blanket stitch, we're going to go back through the back of the stitch like that, of the ribbon, and then create that that blanket stitch, right? Uh-oh, is it going in and out of focus? Sorry. Like that. The weapon pack would be perfect. You know, my brother, the Real Tranquil, he creates a lot of he crafts a lot of D&D monsters on his own. Like, he just uses a lot of crafting supplies like wire and glue, and he just finds stuff at thrift stores and garage sales. He lives in Florida, and apparently they throw a lot of stuff away that he always uses. But he found a bag of He-Man weapons. Remember those old plastic He-Man weapons? And he has used those in several of his creature building. And then we looked it up thinking we would buy some more. Because I think he used it for fire giants. We looked it up to see, like on eBay, if people were selling those. And they were, but they were like $5 each. Someone had a whole bin of He-Man weapons. So that's your best bet, is to go to the Goodwill stores or the thrift stores and just look through old toy bag. Sometimes it'll be like a whole bag of toys that people are trying to get rid of. You can get for $1, $2. Oh, that's great. That's even better than what he probably paid for it. You do have all your He-Man figures? He even had the purple Skeletor staff with the skull at the top. I think he was saving that for a big Betty. He's probably going to throw that at us at the end of this month. I'm heading to Florida for his wedding, and they're not going on honeymoon, so of course that means he's going to play D&D with us. So he's my DM when I go down there. He does a lot of homebrew stuff, so even if you've memorized the monster manual, you still don't know what he's going to throw at you. It could be anything. Here, I'll put on the table the one that he and I made together. And you're not going to believe this. He made this out of this is a fire giant. He made it out of a one of those ninjas that you can get at the dollar store for $1. Those little plastic, almost like soldiers, but they're the larger ones. And he uses a lot of Gorilla Glue and a lot of paint and sanding and cotton and wire and all sorts of stuff. This is wrapped with wire. His hair is cotton that's been painted. The sword is built... Actually, I made the sword. It's built out of a popsicle stick and other small parts. Some pieces of leather. That was a fun stream. In fact, that stream has prompted me to, this summer, start a new program here on Qyjari's Curious Crafts called Learning Recurve. And it'll feature me and someone else. I think our first stream will be Drake, with me teaching him how to do some sort of D&D craft. I know Del Mori is also wanting to appear on that show. She is an excellent artist. She's the one who drew Sir Mimsy, that you see right there with his little Santa hat on. And she said she'd come on the show and teach me how to draw, or teach Drake how to draw. And oh my goodness, that episode will be hysterical. My kids are funny. They crack me up. So that's coming this summer. Clover said she'd do it too if I would teach her how to craft a one of these felt ornaments as a dragon. She loves dragons. Okay, so we have reached the other side of the face of this leprechaun for his hat. Now here comes the tricky part. I'll move our little fire giant over. We've got to stuff it first, and then we are going to sew it front and back like this using a blanket stitch, and going in one side, out the other, and then back through to make it all nice and even. And it's kind of a tricky thing to do, but it just takes a little patience. But first, let's go ahead and stuff the hat. We're going to take, once again, a couple little pieces using our hemostats and doing the hat brim, because those are two little sections that are very small, like that. This one might not stay in as well since that stitch is not finished there, but that's okay. I'm leaving the needle and the thread on so I can continue stitching once I have it stuffed. So I don't have to re-knot it and reapply that. All right, so once those little edges are done, you can stuff the rest. Like I said, gently, firmly but gently. You don't want stitches popping out, but you also don't want it to be floppy. You're Ack! Welcome, Ack! Hey, T-Girl. We had a joke back when we played, I think it was EverQuest. Someone mistyped back and put an N after the B. So we in our guild would always joke with people that we were Banak. I'm Banak! And then people would reply, welcome, Banak! Okay, so I have softly stuffed this area here, and I am leaving it a little bit loose so that we don't have to worry about that stuffing as we put his head in there. This is a little tricky, and you will probably need a couple of pins, which means I'm going to stab myself multiple times, but we're almost done. So we're going to put the hat on his head and make sure it's even, and put our pin in on the front there, and we're going to put one on the back too. And I'm making sure that I'm going through both the hat and the face, and again on the back. There we go. Oops, didn't get through that hat very well. There, that's better. Okay. All right. So again, this is a little trickier, but I'll go through it slowly, and I'll probably have to untangle it from these pins as I go. So we'll just be a little patient. This got pulled a little tight. I'm going to loosen this last blanket stitch, and I can feel under my thumb that the stuffing got a little loose and got out of there. I'm going to use my sewing needle to poke that, which I knew it would because that stitch was loose, to poke that stuffing back in there, and then go ahead and tighten that up again. Okay, so I have room for one more stitch before I have to go through the hat, so I'm going to do that first. I'll move this stuff out of the way. Like this. But then after that, we'll have to go through the layers of, and once I go through that first one, I'm going to take that pin out because it'll hold. So it's through just like you're doing, as if you're just going through the two pieces of the hat, like that. I don't know if you can see that very well against that back. And then I'm going to look at the other side and make sure that it comes out the same distance from that last stitch to there. And it does. So I'm going to go back, but I'm not going to pull it tight. I'm going to leave it loose on the front, like that. And now I can take this pin out because that's in my way. Okay, so it's still loose, and I'm going to go back through like I've done in the past by putting it straight through and come out at the next interval, which is right there. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. And then it'll go through the loop. And make sure that it's not tangled when you put it through the loop. Just like that. So see, you're creating that blanket stitch, but you're actually going through the front and the back. And we'll do another one. So through, I'm going to push it through, and then I'm going to hold it up. Okay, so like that. There's the first one. Holding in an angle, hopefully you could see that. And then on the back side, same distance from there to there. Nice and even. And then don't pull it tight. Send it back through like that. And again, that same distance here. And then there we go. And just a little gentle pull tightens all these stitches as you go. Okay. So now we can chat some more. You've learned that. You've learned it. I'm going to take that back pin out too. I've already stabbed myself 3 times. I'm getting good at not saying ouch every 5 seconds. I wasn't going to do a show next week. Because I'm getting ready to go to that wedding at the end of the month, but I am going to do a show next week. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I have decided that I am going to show you an episode next week, or do an episode next week that will be exclusive, one-time viewer only. One-time view only. It'll stay on Twitch the requisite 24 hours like it should, but then it will not be uploaded to YouTube because it is going into the Nerdsmith vault for bonus content for Nerdsmith subscribers, because I am a proud member of the Nerdsmith team. And I'm going to show you right now what I'm going to show you how to make as soon as I finish the stitch. There we go. All right, you ready for this one? Everyone's going to love it. I need a drum roll. It is a Christmas bacon ornament. So if you want to learn how to make this Christmas bacon ornament, I'm going to show you next Thursday how to do it at 1 o'clock. And then if you're not here, it's gone forever unless you become a Nerdsmith sub. And then you can see it anytime you want to. And it's gone. Look at that. Off the screen. T-Girl, I knew that you'd like that. In addition to that, for the Nerdsmith Vault, I am also going to create a full color pictures, full of picture instruction on how to create that to give to the Nerdsmith Vault as well. So it'll be both the instructional video and the PDF of the instructions. And this is all part of the Nerdsmith subdrive that happens at the end of April. So along with Saturday's D&D game, those are my other contributions for the subdrive. I know I'm getting them in a little late. Sorry, T-Girl. I'm just running late on everything, it seems like. Awesome! Yeah, it won't just be the pattern, it'll be the full instructions, like full color instructions on how to put it all together with the materials list and tools list and everything. So if you are a crafter, it'll be easy to do. Easy peasy. Oh, okay, so it's not just me, thank goodness. Okay, I can get rid of this pin because it is attached. This just takes a little more time. I know I'm yapping. Just to make sure that you're stitching. You could do a running stitch here if you really wanted to, if you didn't want to get this fancy. But I think it looks better, more coordinated with the rest of the project to do the blanket stitch. Look, I still got paint on my hands from earlier. Okay, whoops, I pulled that tight over on the top there. I gotta get that. That is too tight right there. I gotta save that stitch. There we go. Okay, one more stitch. And that's, see, it worked out perfectly. And boy, I guess my thread worked out perfectly too. I'm almost at the end of this piece of floss. Okay, so this is where I will bury my stitch after I put the final knot in it. I'll just do what I usually do with the knots, run it through a previous stitch, and then tie it onto itself. And then I'm going to run that stitch through the hat, just anywhere in the hat as long as it doesn't go through the front, which it didn't, and run it through. Oh, it's caught on itself. There we go. And where's my scissors? Scissors! Give it a snip, and that thread will disappear into the, should disappear into the ornament. Thank you, Rennick, for not letting me forget about the ornament loop. Okay, so there's this little hat, and we're going to take our glue gun now, and we're going to use that. It's our, what kind of glue gun? Sure Bonder. Let me put my needles away, because that's the last thing you want to find with your bare feet on a shag carpet, is a needle. And we're going to use the same one, so we matchy match. And this was cut from, like I said, that glitter ribbon. If you don't have glitter ribbon, you can just use a piece of felt, and then you can use some gold or silver if you'd rather. I like the idea of gold since it's the whole gold at the end of the rainbow. Glitter paint to paint over that piece of felt if you'd like. Or if you could find the ribbon, that just makes life a little bit easier. And same with the shamrock. If you don't find a shamrock, and these aren't buttons, these are just little flats. You could even find a button if you wanted to, a shamrock button. Now's the time to go get them. And, or actually afterward, they'll all be on sale. Sure Bonder! Oh, awesome. I love crochet work. I love that. I used to crochet, but I'm too impatient. We could paint this green with the green glitter, but I have an extra one, so I'm just going to use this one. All right, so now comes the gluing part. Easy peasy. I have a silicone pad that I use under my glue gun to catch any drips, but the one nice thing about Sure Bonder is they rarely drip, even at the high temp, and this is a high temp glue gun. I'm going to take that piece of silicone and just clean off the tip, just to make sure that any of my last project isn't stuck to the front of it and then spoil my my leprechaun. And I'm going to just glue these little bits sides down, the tiny bead of glue down the side here, not near the edge. And I'm just going to firmly but gently press that down. I don't want it to ooze out. And that's just one of the great things about Sure Bonder. It's virtually dripless. Hey, Sure Bonder, sponsor me. And let's do another one. I did show you, I think it was during the Valentine's Day pig ornament special, what to do if you accidentally get glue on a piece of felt that you may have already sewn and you don't want to have to take it all apart and redo. There, unless you want to hide it with something like another piece of felt or a bow or something, there is a way you can recover from that. A bit of glue on your felt, but you have to make sure that you have good quality thick felt to do that. If you have very, very thin felt, it won't work. So you kind of have to know that ahead of time. Okay, so the belt buckle, like I said, it's just a piece of that ribbon. It's very thin, and I have just taken it and cut, following my pattern, cut it out of the back of that. I just folded it in half and basically cut a U. And it snip, snip, very easy. I bought this whole spool for two belt buckles. I did look for other belt buckles to use, but I just didn't find ones that had this same kind of shimmer to it. All right, so I'm going to hold this on, and I'm actually going to glue one section at a time, because I don't want to glue this and then try to hit this just right. I want to hold it on there, like so. And then fold that back and then glue here. And you don't need a lot. In fact, you don't want to use a lot at all because you don't want it to splurt out. because that's what causes those little accidents that you can't recover from. Oh no! A sweater, that's ambitious. If I crochet, it's gonna be like a long rope and then I'm done. I take that back. I have crocheted hacky sacks before. Alright, now that one piece is down, I can go ahead and put glue on the back of this. A very, very thin amount down the center in case it does ooze a little bit. And there you go. I don't want it to ooze at all. And there's this little belt. This little belt buckle. Now, again, this can just go on anywhere. Here, there. I don't know. I guess we'll put it in the same spot. I liked it there. And again, just a small dot in the center. It doesn't take a lot. I do this to kind of get those little wisps away. And once it's on there, you can't move it. And I'm just going to hold that firmly for a couple seconds. And it is on there. And we are done with our little leprechaun. Isn't he adorable? Almost just in time, too. If you are lurking, we love lurkers. But if you are lurking and still want to have a chance to win this little guy, just say something in chat. You qualify. Everyone who says something in chat. Wisp away, yeah. They're these little wisps. They're just sort of, I call them spider webs. Spider threads. And there he is! He looks fabulous! I love his eyebrows, Rainick. That was a good call on the eyebrows. He's looking a little like he's questioning something. Like he's inquisitive. And we did the mouth off center to give him that little smirky look. But he looks adorable. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And Incest tonight. Now I'm singing that song. A wisp away, a wisp away. Don't get me singing. I can't sing. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to remind you that I will not be doing 3 sheets one shot tomorrow night in anticipation of clearing this room out and setting up for Saturday's game. A lot of work we have to do. I'm still waiting on some of my players to give me their characters so I can have stat sheets put up on the screen. But I am so looking forward to it. Once again, it is a live D&D. We're all in the same room. 5th edition one-shot. Drake is our DM. He's an excellent dungeon master. And once it airs, it's gone. It's going into the Nerdsmith vault. So watch tomorrow night or become a Nerdsmith minion or higher and then watch it again if you want. So anyway, thanks again. And I look forward to seeing you Saturday night for sure. Next Thursday, of course, I'll be showing you how to make the little bacon ornament. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.